Have you ever really thought about what happens right after you eat a meal? I mean, what really happens to all that sugar? Well, deep inside you, this incredible, super precise process kicks into gear. Today, we're going to break down how insulin, your body's amazing sugar solution, actually works, from the moment it's made to its final crucial mission. So let's dive right in. Okay, so picture it. You've just finished a delicious meal. As your body starts breaking it all down, your bloodstream gets this big rush of sugar, or, glucose to be specific. So, what now? How does your body handle all this new energy without, completely freaking out? Well, it all starts with a signal. Your body has this really sophisticated alarm system that immediately detects this rush of sugar and knows, okay, it's go time. Now, this state of high blood sugar has a technical name. It's called hyperglycemia. And you can think of it as the body's alarm bell ringing loud and clear. The control center gets this urgent message like, hey, energy levels are way up. We need to deploy the response team now. This right here is the one and only trigger for this entire process we're about to walk through. So who answers that alarm? Well, that would be the pancreas. Or more specifically, these little clusters of cells inside the pancreas called pancreatic islets. And if you look here on the slide, you'll see something pretty amazing. A whopping 75% of these islets are made of just one type of cell, the beta cell. These guys are our insulin factories. They are without a doubt the heroes of our story today. All right, the alarm has sounded. The factory has been notified. Let's zoom way in and go right inside one of these beta cells to see exactly how insulin gets made and prepped for its big mission. It's a super precise, three-step chain reaction. First, the glucose that's floating around gets into the cell through a special little door called GLUT2. Once it's inside, the cell gets to work, breaking it down and creating this big surge of energy in the form of a molecule called ATP. You can think of ATP as a cell's own internal battery pack. And this sudden flood of energy, this new power, has one very specific job. It slams the cell's potassium gates shut. So, why is closing a potassium gate such a big deal? Well, potassium ions are positively charged, and normally they just flow right out of the cell, which keeps everything electrically balanced. But with those gates locked shut, all that positive charge can't get out, so it starts to build up and build up, completely changing the electrical vibe inside the cell. And this electrical buildup, that's the final trigger. It's the countdown to launch. The beta cell is now primed and totally ready to deploy its secret weapon. This is where we get the big release. So that buildup of positive charge causes what we call depolarization. It's basically like flipping the cell's main power switch from off to on. That flip instantly throws open a brand new set of gates, the calcium channels. Calcium ions come rushing into the cell, and this massive flood of calcium is the final command. It tells all these tiny bubbles that are storing pre-made insulin, go, go, go. They merge with the cell wall and just release all that insulin into the bloodstream, and bam, insulin is officially on its way. So now, our hero molecule is on the move, traveling through your bloodstream with a very clear mission. But here's the thing, it can't just act on any old cell it bumps into. Nope, it's on the hunt for a perfect match. You see, before insulin can actually do its job, it has to perform this super specific handshake with its target cell. This is all about communication, and it all happens at the specialized docking station we call a receptor. Insulin's main targets are your muscle cells and your fat cells. But there's a catch. The cell's outer layer, its membrane, is fatty, and insulin is water-soluble. And as we all know, oil and water, they don't mix. Insulin just can't get through on its own. So the only way it can deliver its message is to connect with a dedicated receptor that's sitting on the outside of the cell. And this receptor is a really clever two-part system. You've got the alpha subunit, which sits on the outside of the cell. Think of it as the perfect little docking station, just waiting for insulin to arrive. Once insulin binds to it, it sends a signal to the beta subunit, which is on the inside of the cell. And the beta subunit, that's the engine room. It has this special power called kinase activity, which is just a fancy way of saying it can start flipping on other switches inside the cell. This quote from the research really just says it all, doesn't it? You can have a perfect docking, the insulin can bind perfectly, but if that engine room, that beta subunit's kinase activity isn't working, the whole thing just fails. Absolutely nothing happens. That kinase activity is the non-negotiable key that unlocks the entire response. Okay, so the handshake is complete, the engine has been fired up. Now it's time for the grand finale, using that signal to finally open the doors for all that sugar that's been waiting patiently outside.
So here's how it happens. That activated kinase engine kicks off this chemical domino effect inside the cell. The signal zips through the cell and finds these little storage bubbles that are holding another type of glucose transporter called GLUT4. And the message is simple: get to the surface. These bubbles travel up to the cell's edge, they merge with it, and they pop those GLUT4 transporters right into the membrane, creating brand new doorways just for glucose.
And with these new doors now wide open, all that glucose that was crowding your bloodstream can finally flood into the cell. The cell can then use it for energy right away or just pack it away for later. And the result? Your blood sugar levels drop right back down to a safe, normal range. Mission totally accomplished. I mean, what a process, right? A really complex problem solved by this incredibly elegant and precise biological machine. From just a simple meal to this whole cascade of molecular signals, your body just restores balance, all in a matter of moments. It's just a breathtakingly efficient system that works tirelessly for us day in and day out, without us even thinking about it. Which, of course, leads to a really important final question. What happens when any single step in this perfect chain reaction breaks? Understanding how beautifully it's supposed to work is really the first step to understanding so much more about our health.